And in this case, Emi also gives an example of someone you may have heard of, Lionel Messi. If anyone out there has ever gone to a tryout or had a tryout and not been selected, Messi at a young age, 8-9 years old, had an opportunity to go for River Plate, one of the biggest clubs in Argentina, and didn't get selected. Hey everybody, it's Coach Andrew from Because Football, Transform Soccer, one and the same. This video is pretty interesting look at the opinion of an elite Argentine youth soccer coach. This is Emi Morelli, who you might know from some of our other videos on YouTube and on Instagram. And Emi has been coaching youth soccer at an extremely high level in Argentina for over a decade at this point. In this chat, we got to talk about some of the differences between the tryout or trial process here in Argentina versus in the United States. He also gives some tips for soccer parents and for soccer players about how to approach what can be a really difficult, challenging, and stressful experience. Please leave a comment with your thoughts and questions. I know this isn't going to answer every question in the world. I would love to hear your questions. I'll answer them to the best of my ability.
Well, here in Argentina, we just go on Saturdays or Sundays. We scout the little kids playing the town teams. Then we invite the kid that we think can fit on our team for a couple of weeks of trials. So it's not a day test. You want to make sure that the kid, when he gets to the complex, he can get comfortable. And what we need to see is the same that we saw on the Saturday game. Yeah. So he was playing with their friends. He was comfortable. He was playing around people that he knew. So what we want is that when they get here with us, they can do the same. Yeah. They need to feel comfortable. So what we tell them is that they're going to have 2 weeks, 6 training sessions. They can get comfortable and show us the same that we saw on Saturday when we picked them up, right?
In this video, Emi first describes how the process works in Argentina, which is more of a trial sort of process instead of a tryout. Emi will go to scout some local teams, some smaller clubs, and when he identifies kids who might be a good fit, he will then invite them to come for a 2-week trial with the official River Plate team. Here in Argentina, you could get selected to trial in January, in March, September. All throughout the year, it's more on an ongoing basis. But then in the US, we have usually a different system. Like everyone who wants to make the team, they come for 1 or 2 different days. You play some small-sided games, some regular games for an hour and a half. The coaches rank the players and then select. So it's a different system. What would you say to players? Like how can they prepare themselves mentally for that type of experience? How would you try to support them?
Well, I think it's a lot of pressure on the kid. So what happened is that he won't perform the way that he usually does, right? So you have to make sure the environment is good for him. So it's better if you can invite them for like a couple practices, at least 2 weeks, 6 practices, and then he start realizing, like I said before, right? He gets to the training complex and he said, "Oh, I saw you yesterday as well, so I know your name. I know if you are righty or lefty, so we can play wall pass because I already know something about you." In 1 day, 1 hour test, it's hard because it's like a challenge in between you and me, who's gonna get in the team.
Another important part of our conversation is the role that soccer parents have to play. It's not an easy situation to be in. You want to support your kid. You want to give them the best opportunities. Emi starts to talk about the role of parents and how important they are in helping to keep the child even and stable and more level-headed about things.
Here in Argentina, parents are so important because sometimes we have to select for a game maybe 14 kids from a roster of 36. Yeah. And they have to be right pushing forward. That is not the end.
And in this case, Emi also gives an example of someone you may have heard of, Lionel Messi. If anyone out there has ever gone to a tryout or had a tryout and not been selected, Messi at a young age, 8-9 years old, had an opportunity to go for River Plate, one of the biggest clubs in Argentina, and didn't get selected. So he ended up staying with his local team, Newell's Old Boys in Rosario, in his hometown, and that's where he was scouted from Barcelona when he was 11, 12 years old. So in 2 years, he went from not being picked in Argentina to being selected and having his whole family move to Europe by one of the greatest teams in the world. So I think that there's an awesome message here in this example that as parents, try to look long distance, and as players, know that it's a long journey and that you'll have other opportunities, and don't just give up or think, oh, they didn't pick me for this one team at this one time, I don't have a chance.
I mean, Messi went to River, and River told Messi, you cannot play here. Everybody knows.
How old was Messi at that time?
No, he was 8.
8 years old. So at 8 years old, River said no to Messi.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he had a bad day. It happens. But you have to see the whole story. That he drove from Rosario 3 hours, maybe more, 4 hours in car. I don't know if he had a breakfast, if he had a lunch. So it's a lot of stuff that you have to put pieces together, right, and see what happened. Maybe the scout has had a bad day that day. I don't know, the coach.
This next part of the conversation is, I think, probably the most important. When it comes to a time of tryouts, of evaluations, of making the team or not, there's so much that goes into that. But in this part of the video, I think it's really fascinating because I asked Emi, hey, what are you looking for at River Plate, at your club in particular? I talked to one guy in Germany, right? One coach, and he's like, we look first, we look for the mentality, we want them to be competitive, they want really emotional boys, right? Who if they lose, they want them to be angry and mad, right?
Of course.
And then next is the physicality, the athleticism, because they say, okay, if he's athletic, if he has coordination, balance, he can learn the technique, right? Of course. So when you look for boys at this age,
right now,
is there one thing? Is it just overall is a good player, or he has good athleticism, or what?
Technique, 1v1. How he
attack and defense, just
both.
Overall, yeah.
That's why when you see how we play street soccer, you will see that most of the time, when you come to River, you have all number 10s. Yeah. He's a forward, and now in River he's a center back. How come? He's a midfielder in street soccer, and in River he's a forward. How come? Because through the years.
So it's
they will
a value from
exactly.
River really is value. So maybe other clubs look for different, but a River just
it
technical
depends.
Ability and to see the game and understand.
Exactly, and it depends in which club you are scouting for. If I have to go and scout for Boca, for example, I have to look for a player that when he lost the ball, he's angry and he's physically strong and he fights. But in River, in Independiente, story tells you that your kids must play well, play nice soccer, attractive soccer, and an offensive soccer, right? So that's why maybe a lot of kids go to Boca, they cannot play there because they play better in River. Because the story that the club looks for is the tradition of the club, right? Yeah.
When they scout, they are looking for a specific type of player. At other clubs in Argentina, they might look for something different. In other parts of the world, they value different things within their philosophy. But I think this part of the video really speaks to the fact that as a player, if you are giving 100% of yourself to work hard in training, you're doing more outside of practice, and you really love the game, then you have to understand what type of a player you are, naturally instinctive. All players kind of have a little bit of that natural personality that they bring, more defensive, more attacking, more of a midfielder who's more intense, who's more of a creative player who sees the game. Goalkeepers, you guys are a breed of your own, right? And you kind of feel that, I think inside, in my heart as a player, as my soccer identity, that I am a goalkeeper. I think the important part of this video, what we're saying is that trust yourself, again, if you're giving that 100%, and don't let anyone else's evaluation and opinion of you, whether it's amazing or whether it's terrible, don't let their opinion affect you. I know it's a lot easier said than done. I know I've also talked about humility, giving everything I can, but knowing I don't have full control. And then also saying, all right, if I don't get picked for this team, but I think I perform well, they still didn't pick me, then you can't just let your whole self-image and you can't let all your confidence just crumble because of that one thing, okay? Because the soccer journey is so tough, especially if you want to be a pro, you want to play college, you have highs, you have lows, people will believe in you, people won't. Try to keep building this internal strength that comes from your love for the game, that comes from the work you put in, that comes from the passion you have for it. Different coaches different clubs value different things. Just because they value something that you are not doesn't mean that you don't have value. I think this is really important too for parents when they talk about and think about different clubs to find and look for, is like trying to find someone who values you at that level. Your son plays, right? So let's say like if your son is in the US and he's going to the tryout, like what would you say to help him prepare?
Mentally, first of all, to do what he usually does,
So
just
try to
play.
keep things the same. Just play.
Have fun, enjoy. Add on pressure, go and play, have fun. Show them what you have. If it's not in here, it's gonna be in another place.
Yeah.
Just keep going until you are maybe 45 and you realize that, okay, my legs are not helping me to keep playing soccer, and then that's it. But you have to keep playing. There is a lot of stories about players, that pro players, they maybe in 10 years in the academy, they didn't play 7 years, but they were going to practice and having training, and they keep pushing up, and then finally they made.
And let's say if your son's at the tryout but he does not make the team, he doesn't get selected, what would you say to him?
First of all, I'm gonna try to tell, don't worry, and I don't talk the same day. We just drove home. The next day, if I saw that he made a couple of mistakes, maybe technical mistakes or tactical, then I go, next time try to shot, don't pass, maybe.
You need to give time before you...
Yes, because he's going to be so upset, so you have to give the time. He said, all right, let's go home. And not 4 minutes after the trial, just let him cool down. Here in Argentina, we say like, let him masticar la bronca. It's like when you are so mad, so sad.
Yeah.
So you swallow that, and when you're ready, you're ready to go for the next trial, right?
And then sometimes, of course, the player tries out and they make the team, right? In my experience, I see some players that, oh, I made the team, I can relax, I'm on the team now, you feel really comfortable. But what would you say to the player who does make the team that they're on?
He made the team right now, but then next year or next couple of weeks, you're going to have more players trying out.
There's no time to rest.
I'm going to give you an example with my team at River Plate. We won the championship last year, and this year when we start, we say, hey, listen, forget about it. You start from zero, and you have to protect what you have done, and you have to make sure that every day you train so you can keep this spot at River. So make sure nobody comes from outside and take your spot.
Yeah, you have to keep working.
So you have to keep working, and then you have to keep improving. This is all about you. Every day you have to improve. Life, soccer, cooking, everything. You need to keep rolling.
Whether you're confident or unconfident, whether you make the team, you don't, I think the number one message I want to give to everybody from this is it's a long soccer journey. We hope it's a long soccer journey because it's such a beautiful thing and a great thing to be in your life. To be the best you can, to push your own potential, whether you're on the best team in your area, the worst team in your area. It's about how can you develop yourself, and you've got to keep working. This video really offers great insight into the perspective of a coach who's performing at a high level with his youth team, and he understands what's going into it for parents, for kids as well. And whatever your goal is, whatever your aspirations and dreams are, we hope that you could get something out of this video. Please, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. We'll have more content like this, jumping into youth soccer, but also just soccer culture in general here in Argentina. Share this with a teammate or another kid that you might think might get something out of this that you want to give some support to. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.